Welcome to This Week in Colorado Soccer, another at-home edition. This is Danny Sanchez coming from Broomfield, Colorado. We have a really special guest today. All of our soccer fans out there will be aware of Pablo Mastroeni, who is now currently the assistant coach for the Houston Dynamo, and he's in Houston. So, Pablo, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Danny. Yeah, excited to be here.
Well, before we talk about kind of your coaching and your playing career, I know that you play golf a lot with associate head coach Jason Green. How bad is he really at golf?
He's actually gotten a lot better, and there's actually been times where he's beaten me. So I guess it doesn't say a lot about my golf game as well. But I tell you what, he's a competitor. He doesn't stop whether he's having a good game or not. He keeps going forward.
Yeah, well, the bar's been set low, so good thing you focused on soccer at a youth. For those of you who don't know Pablo's background, Pablo was actually born in Argentina, came over to the U.S. when he was really young, played actually to Jason and I's hometown in Phoenix, Arizona, played for legendary Luis Dabo with Santos Football Club, Thunderbird High School, and then went on to NC State and got drafted by the Miami Fusion. For some of you old MLS fans will know, spent a few years there, but really his career really blossomed when Miami Fusion folded, and he was the kind of the first pick for the Rapids. Probably the highlight, obviously, for his Rapids career and his 225 appearances was the MLS Championship in 2010, where he captained the squad. But I want to take a step back and talk a little bit about the 2002 and 2006 World Cup, Pablo. You kind of came out of nowhere for that 2002 team, kind of came into the squad late, and kind of how did that all come about to be able to make that squad when the U.S. went to the quarterfinal, our best appearance ever?
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting story. I got my first cap in 2001 in the summer. And then Bruce had this idea of me being the next right back for the U.S. national team. And he had me come out, and we were going to do a friendly against South Korea in December of 2001. And it was kind of both to get a game in, but more importantly, the lay of the land for the World Cup. So he invited me over, and I started at right back. And I just got killed down down my side. And I was going up against a guy who was playing for Feyenoord at the time. And he was just he had all the tricks, he had pace, he had power. Make a long story short, Bruce wrote everyone a letter on the way home from that trip. And basically the letter said to me, hey, thank you for your effort, which means you played poorly. Keep your head up, keep going. 2006 is around the corner. There was a January camp around the corner, and he says, well, I don't know if I'm going to bring you in for the January camp because I want to start looking for the World Cup squad. So I stayed fit. He called me about 2 days before the camp, and he says, listen, Greg Berhalter went down with an injury. Do you mind playing center back, coming in as like a spare center back? And I was like, I'll play anywhere. So I came in, and I was playing really well as a center back. And then at that point, Bruce said, do you think you can start and play in this next game? So I started in that game. We played every other game following. We won the Gold Cup. Then we had a few other friendlies. So now he considered me a backup to right back, considered me a backup to center back, and a backup to defensive midfield. The roster came out, and he calls me, and I see Bruce, and I'm thinking, he's going to call me to tell me I didn't make the team, which at that point I was ready for anyway, because it was all just by chance anyway that I was even in the running. And he called me, he says, I'm selecting you as a 23rd player to the roster for the World Cup team. And I said, oh, Bruce, I'm so thankful. I'm so appreciative. And he says, you know why? And I said, yeah, because I played really well in the friendlies, and I was ready to play. He said, no, it has nothing to do with your ability on the field. He said, you're a great teammate. You work your tail off every practice. You compete the right way. And more importantly, you have the right mentality, regardless if I put you in the right back or center back or midfield. And that's what I want to see moving forward. And so I think for me, it was really a call to how important a mentality is in a player's career, where coaches, a lot of players think, oh, if I play good, he's going to pick me. And then you start to realize when you're building a team, it takes more than the guys that are actually going to be on the 11. It takes a full team, and in this case, the 23rd player selected. So anyway, sorry for the long-winded story, but I thought that was like it came out of nowhere,
And that's awesome. Obviously, a couple of great moments in that World Cup. Obviously, beating Portugal the first game 3-2, which were kind of a prohibitive kind of favorites, and obviously my favorite moment, obviously beating Mexico in the round of 16 2-0. I mean, I can still see the diving header from McBride and all that. It was just a great moments for us. And obviously, you were able to participate in another World Cup in 2006. Eventually, as us all, we get old and we can't run anymore, and we get into to coaching. And you came in 2014 with the Rapids as the interim coach, and then kind of built from there. And we were able to get Tim Howard in 2016. Was a great season for the Rapids. You were runner-up for the Coach of the Year, and had a great year. And a team that, to be honest, wasn't full of superstars. It was just a really, to your point, you built a team that was a great team that bought into the philosophy.
Yeah, no, I think it was a real special year, and you know how difficult it is in coaching. On paper, it's one thing, but then going out and executing is a completely different beast. And I think that year, we really bought in. Everyone checked their egos at the door and walked in with this real purpose of doing something special. It really came together, and we had a lot of good fortune and a lot of good fate, but the mentality was right, and we overcame a lot of difficult circumstances that year for sure.
We're really excited that you're back in the game. Obviously, we've spent a lot of time with you over the last couple of years. Actually, brought the Rapids up to our Champion Center one of those preseasons, and it was awesome having you up there and seeing the guys training and so forth. So now, obviously, now you're in Houston with Tab Ramos, a good friend of yours, and obviously a quality coach that is bided his time with the youth national teams and is getting this great opportunity with Houston. So we're super excited to see what you do when you get there. I do want to touch on a little bit, and you kind of touched on it. What you look for in a player. I'll put this gently. You were not a man that shied away from a tackle or shied away from effort. I have a lot of stories, but we don't have enough time right now to talk about them. Like when Metro State came and played the Rapids, and I mean, you were playing like it was the World Cup final, and it was a friendly in March. It was awesome. But real quick, when you talk about what you're looking for a player to fit into your group, what's kind of the first quality or qualities you look for?
I think for me, it's really about that grit, that person that's not scared to roll up his sleeves and really get down and really show up when the bullets start flying. I think it's really nice and it's sexy to have players that are good when you're on top and it's 2-0 and you're running the game or you're playing a lesser opponent. But when those bullets are flying, not too often do those guys step up. And so who's gonna be there when the game's tight and it's a scrappy affair? And so that I'd say that's my first thing. And what I realized too is that you do need creative players as well. And those people really connect the rest of the group. However, they're a little bit more difficult to manage. But as a good friend of mine, Preki, who's now a coach in Seattle, would say, he goes, in football, you need piano. You can have one or two piano players. The rest of you guys need to be piano movers. And he says, Pablo, you are a piano mover.
And take it as a compliment. I did want to point out one thing for our fans at home, that Pablo is being inducted into, I don't know if they call the Rapids Ring of Fame, or it's supposed to be this, I believe, July 4th game this year. So hopefully that will happen. So, congratulations on that. It's a great honor and well-deserved when you look at your playing career for the Rapids and obviously your coaching. It's fantastic. It's for those of you that don't know him, Pablo lives a few miles from me in Broomfield. His family's there as he's kind of doing this coaching journey. So congratulations on that, Pablo, and we really appreciate you joining the show today.
Thanks, Danny. Great having me, and looking forward to seeing you guys on the field next year. Hopefully it kicks off.
Yeah, we all can't wait to get back to the field. So once again, thanks for joining us on This Week in Colorado Soccer. As always, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and cubuffs.com/soccer.